Andrew Jessup, your 1 seed over on the left. He is here. It's his second finals appearance here on the SCG Tour in Dallas. Was the runner-up last time he was here. He's going to go for the trophy this time. Think about, though, if 2 straight times to the tournament, making it to the finals, really a testament to mention how much Andrew has come along as a player.
And you're talking about just Dallas tournaments.
Just Dallas tournaments, yeah, yeah.
Plenty of other accolades.
Right. You know, I think really entering this match as the favorite. He's the 1 seed. He's on the play. He's the veteran this time around.
And Tad's taking a mulligan.
So, going to be a tough one here. His biggest challenge really was his top 8 match. If you haven't had a chance, you can go back. You're going to want to watch that one. It was a really close 3 games against Brennan DeCandio. Brennan was the 8th seed with God Pharaoh's Gift.
Yep.
For a while there, it looked like in Game 3, Andrew was going to lose out in the quarterfinals.
Yep. Brennan made it a judgment call that after the fact he was not happy with. May have cost him the match. A little smoother sailing in the semifinals.
Yeah, where he defeated his brother, Dan Jessup, 2-0 for the second time today. And Tad has kept on 6. So we're underway with the finals here of the Dallas Open. Both players, just no 1-drop. Andrew's deck really starts on 2. For Tad, would love to have a 1-drop here. Andrew, Long Tusk Cub, gets hit by Shock.
That's a good exchange for Tad.
Yeah, I do like it. You don't always get to Shock a Long Tusk Cub. Though, the initiative here has to be on Tad. If we just keep playing removal spells for creatures, that's good for Andrew. So Tad does follow up with a 2-drop, Earthshaker Kenra. We see Winding Constrictor from Andrew, and be careful of that last mana he's left open. Andrew's deck this weekend is a 4 Blossoming Defense build.
For the energy deck, you frequently don't want to expose Long Tusk Cub before you have energy, and the only reason to do it is because you have something better.
A Braid pre-combat. Andrew has the Blossoming Defense, protects his snake. So Tad's follow-up is just Bomat Courier, no attacks. And Andrew's hand is really shaping up. Second Winding Constrictor, Aether Hub making 3 energy, and Walking Ballista with double snake.
Wow.
This is so good against Ramanap Red.
And I believe his last card is also Rishkar.
Sure, so this is for 2 mana, 3/3 Ballista. He'll just remove the 2 counters, sweep Tad's board, and swing in for 2.
Just actually 2 mana Triskelion, Plague Wind, 1/1 left behind.
Okay, here's Hazoret. Because of the mulligan, it's 1 card in hand. Tad swings for 5.
I think this is a lot worse than what Andrew's
Oh,
doing.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, if you just look at the race, let's assume there wasn't the Rishkar, and there is. But if there Rishkar, remember this puts 3 counters on Ballista, 3 counters on a snake. So 4 from Ballista,
Attack
5 from Snake, attack from 11. It's almost lethal. If he uses the Ballista, he could deal 15 this turn. Yeah.
Hangs back Rishkar as a chump blocker. Pretty sure he drew Blossoming Defense for the turn. Chalk this one up for Andrew Jessup. This game is over.
Yeah, that's good enough. So Andrew Jessup runs away with game number 1. If he can get that type of draw, just all 2 and 1 and 2 mana spells, and those 2 1 and 2 mana spells, this is going to be an easy one for him.
Oh, yeah.
So moving on to the sideboards. Tad Macaraeg does not take game 1, but he's going to look to a sideboard for things that can help him.
Yep. So here we have 4 Chandra's Defeat, 4 Glorybringer, 3 Chandra Torch of Defiance, 2 PNLR, a Harsh Mentor, and a Mountain. Harsh Mentor is okay in these kind of matchups. It does tax Jessup for using Walking Ballista. It's not super exciting. PNLR is 2 bodies, the flyer attached. We've seen that one come in. It's reasonable. Chandra and Glorybringer can both clean up some of the bigger stuff out of Jessup. I think they're a little bit slow, but there's a good chance we see him come in.
Yeah, and I know that's been one of the things we've looked at with the Ramanap Red deck today, is this plan of boarding in bigger cards, Chandras and Glorybringers, has been unconvincing. If Tad has them, this is probably the type of matchup where I believe he will board them in, just because that's the game plan he is committed to for this tournament when building the sideboard.
Yep. Chandra, I think, specifically is very good.
Yeah, definitely Chandra. And, you know, they have deck lists. He does see Hostage Taker in Andrew Jessup's list. That does make me want to board in Glorybringer more, especially when Tad's on the play. The curve lines up such that if Andrew turned for Hostage Takers, then a Glorybringer on the next turn is very good.
Yep, that tracks.
All right, let's look at Anders' side. 4 Duress, 4 Death Gorge Scavenger, 2 Vraska's Contempt, 2 Negate, a Scarab God, a Spell Pierce, and a Vraska.
So the nice ones here, the 4 Death Gorge Scavenger.
Right.
These, of course, can gain some life. Exile Earthshaker Kenra from the graveyard. That matters. 2 Vraska's Contempt. Those are solid answers to both Hazoret and Glorybringer. Not to mention they gain a little bit of life.
Yeah, normally wouldn't put in a 4-mana removal spell, but put some life gain on it and let it answer their Hallmark card. I'm in.
A little more dubious on the draw, but Spell Pierce can be pretty meaningful in this matchup.
Yeah, especially, I think part of that is he has to figure whether or not he believes that Chandra's coming out of the sideboard. The more he believes it's going to be there, the more he wants Spell Pierce.
Yep.
And Andrew will be on the draw for this game as he took the first one. So our next stop on the SCG Tour is in 2 weeks. It's going to be our first modern event with Ixalan legal cards. We're going to tell you all about it. That's in 2 weeks. It is going to be the Charlotte Open. Ryan and I will both be there. Back to our match. Andrew Jessup winning the first game in very short fashion. A year ago, he was here playing the finals in Dallas. That was back in Modern. He was playing his Infect deck. Ended up losing to Kevin Jones, I believe, on Grixis Delver.
Indeed. That's a nice deck.
Now, are you on Grixis Delver or Grixis Shadow when you're playing Grixis in Modern right now?
Definitely Shadow. Shadow is a lot better.
I don't see that many Delver of Secrets. For Andrew Jessup, though, the 21-year-old from New York here, this will be his 9th Open Top 8. He does have 1 win. Proclaimed himself best player in the house, and, you know, he backed it up today.
And Dan agrees.
Yeah, two matches against his brother, I believe, won all 4 games.
75 card mirror.
All right, tell it like it is. Played baseball as a competitive, actually, until injury. Said he turned into Magic. So much like his brother, both of them into baseball in their younger years. You know, saw Dan slide earlier, saying he had pitched to Mike Trout. Didn't go that well, but he... Both fans from the New York area. Both players keeping. Tad starts on Bomat Courier. And for Andrew, he will have an Attune to start out, so...
With the game 1 draw, this is really the only element that Andrew was missing. If he follows up with Long Tusk Cub, that's a really strong start.
Right, and that'll get up to that 3/3 of size. It means that Long Tusk Cub won't die to shock. It forces Tad to have a Braid. Tad, in the meantime, swings again with Bomat Courier and adds in Carry Zev.
Well, I suppose from here, Jessup might want to have a Fatal Push.
Yeah, Sunscorched Desert, adding an extra point of damage in there that turn. And go back over to Andrew's side. These kind of draws can be very tense to play against. I mean, Andrew's deck wants to make a 2-drop.
Karizev, the highest damage output for a 2-mana creature the red deck can present.
Yeah, it's 3 damage for 2. I mean, the worry is if Andrew just makes a creature, something like On-Crop Crasher is just so hard to beat. If he has a removal spell, he's likely just has to play it.
Yeah.
You see here, 2nd land and a pass. Played the Forest despite attuning for Island. I don't think that's going to make a difference one way or the other. Tad goes to combat. Andrew pushes away the Carry Zev. Courier swings in, just 1 damage. So Andrew's staying high on life points, but this is now the 3rd card under Bomat Courier. And removing the legend allowed Tad to cast a 2nd copy of Carry Zev this turn.
Yep. I mean, Andrew's making that play anyway, but that doesn't feel bad.
Yeah. Rogue Refiner is going to be the turn 3 play for Andrew, so this is one of his blue cards in the deck. 2 energy and draws. So we go back over to Tad's side.
In theory, you can get in front of Bomat Courier.
Yeah.
In theory.
What could go wrong? That could go wrong. Lightning Strike removes Rogue Refiner. Carries Evan Bomac. Courier will rumble on in for 4 and send Andrew down to 12. Courier just getting a pile of cards now.
Yep.
4 are waiting.
Tad's in the sweet spot. 4 cards under Courier, 2 cards in hand.
All right, well, here's Winding Constrictor from Andrew Jessup. Land 4 is the Ether Hub. Brings him up to 6 energy. Does he have a Ballista to go with it? That would be a very nice addition. And he does. Thanks to Winding Constrictor, Ballista wants to become a 2/2. Tad says, yeah, you got it. And what I like here is if Andrew's going to shoot Bomat Courier, he's likely going to do it in Tad's draw step.
Yep. Make it so that Tad doesn't have a window to play a land, but advance into his turn, so he has to use the mana here.
Yeah, he says, draw your card, now I'm going to shoot the Courier. So if Tad activates Bomat Courier, he's going to lose that card he drew this turn.
The disparity between Courier cards and cards in hand also lower here.
Okay, Tad's going to Lightning Strike away the Winding Constrictor, and then sacrifice the Bomat Courier. The last 2 cards in hand, 2 mountains.
Yep, those not essential elements.
So land for turn, and Carrie Zev swings on in. 3 more damage, Andrew drops to 9. And no second removal spell. So we now go back over to Andrew. He has mostly cleaned up the board, still remained at 9. It's in range.
It would be a nice spot for a hostage taker.
Yeah. Well, especially if he had a Blossoming Defense to back it up. Tad did just get a fresh 4 cards off Bomat Courier, and he's left up 2 mana. So there's a possibility of a removal spell, but it would be really nice to get rid of that Carries Zev. Andrew's going to make a play representing a lot less strength, too. He cycles a land to start.
And draws a land off of it.
4 cards in hand for Jessup. And he will pass. Now we go to Tad. Does he have an end step play? Lightning Strike upstairs.
Not good.
That's not a good sign for Andrew at all. Now down to 6. I like Tad hanging on to that in case there was a hostage taker. And now Tad, he's going to try for a win. Here is Glorybringer. That and Carrie Zev will combine for a lethal attack if Andrew does not have an answer. He will cycle. Trying to hit, I think, a Fatal Push.
Yeah, so he can take care of the Carrie Zev and not just die right now.
And he cast it. I don't know if it was drawn or whether he had it before, but he'll swing on in. Tad is going to swing Glorybringer. He actually exerts it, which makes sense here to kill a Walking Ballista. That puts Andrew down to 2. There is a Ramanap Ruins in play for Tad.
Yep. Tad was in no danger of actually losing this game.
Right.
But clean up the only resource Andrew had available.
Andrew going to get 1. Ooh, I was going to say doesn't have life gain, but he does have Deathgorge Scavenger. So that will gain him 2 life. Play a tap land, goes back to Tad. So the Ramanap Ruins by itself doesn't kill Andrew. Bomat Courier, Hazaret. Swing, card under Courier. Well, Scavenger has to block Hazaret. Andrew takes 1, goes down to 3.
And Jessup's deck really just doesn't have any draws from this position.
No Glorybringers untapping next turn. Hazaret is still there, and Andrew will pick up the cards. Tad takes the game where he's on the play and sends it to a deciding third.
Things you expect from red aggressive decks.
Yeah, I mean, Tad's deck really improves when he gets to be on the play.
Jessup did get a little bit flooded in that game.
Yeah, we did see Deathgorge Scavenger, a nice-looking card there.
On the play, generally a lot easier for Jessup to deal with Bomat Courier before it gets out of hand.
Sure. Yeah. And we looked back at Andrew Jessup's draw that game. It wasn't horrible. It was, turn 1 Attune. That was fine. Ended up having a Rogue Refiner on 3.
Yeah, there was a Fatal Push in between on a creature like Carrie Zev, and Tad had another Carrie Zev.
Right. So a turn 2 removal spell, a turn 3 Rogue Refiner. He's going to need more.
He just ran out of spells. That's what it came down to.
Though he'll get to be on the play this next game, which will save him a lot of life points and give him more time to draw. All right, we'll get to that in just a second. Meanwhile, I want to take a second to tell you about the next Grand Prix offering from Star City Games. It is Grand Prix Atlanta.
On November 10th through the 12th, make plans to be part of Magic the Gathering history when StarCityGames.com proudly presents Grand Prix Atlanta. Register by Sunday, October 15th for the standard format main event to compete for thousands of dollars in prizes and receive an exclusive playmat featuring Sun-Blessed Mount. Select the 3-day Infinite Challenge package to compete in all challenge events for one low price, while also walking away with the exclusive Sun-Blessed Mount playmat. All Friday challenges are also Grand Prix trials. Come out early and compete for buys in the main event and more chances to claim a Sun-Blessed Mount playmat. Prefer 100-card formats? Register for the Ultimate Commander package to play in 4 Commander On-Demand events and take home a Commander vs. Playmat and Ultimate Guard Boulder deck case. Want to play on Magic's grandest stage? Compete in the Pro Tour qualifier on Sunday and receive a Progenitus foil promo just for playing, plus the chance for an invitation to Pro Tour Rivals of Ixalan in Bilbao, Spain. And don't forget to come say hello to Grand Prix Atlanta's many special guests, including cosplayer Christine Sprinkle and an artist alley full of fan favorites, headlined by guest of honor Therese Nielsen. Be part of Magic the Gathering history. Register for Grand Prix Atlanta today.
That's the week after regionals. It's going to be Grand Prix Atlanta. It's going to be this standard format. Right now we're seeing Ramanap Red. That was the winner of one of the top decks of last format. Strong showing here at the Dallas Open.
Lightning Strike. Not a huge upgrade, but certainly an upgrade.
Yeah. Well, when the format's losing 2 sets, your deck doesn't always need an upgrade as long as it doesn't have a downgrade. And you can say Ramanap Red did not get worse after rotation.
Yeah, not really missing Falconwrath Gorger.
That was the card I lost, wasn't it? And so that means you're just really not changing the deck too much.
Nope. Incendiary Flow, just a lateral shift to Lightning Strike. Can't say you exiled too many things in a meaningful way with that one.
Yeah, I guess your sorcery got to become an instant. It's an upgrade.
Certainly matters in terms of playing these 4 Soulscar Mage. The pre-combat Incendiary Flow to pump Soulscar Mage, really bad. In combat, Lightning Strike has more going on.
Andrew, last second switched up a couple sideboard cards. He'll be on the play here for our 3rd game. And both, when you look at our first 2 games, it really felt about the player who can get onto the board faster. Was able to take that advantage and then run with it, turning it into more advantage. Andrew going to 6, so is Tad. Hard, I actually find here to know. Both decks are okay on the mulligan. I haven't played a lot of black-green. You know, if Andrew has Constrictor Rishkar, it's fine. You don't really always need the 7th card. But Tad, I think, feels the same way about Hazoret.
Yeah, you really want to be able to attack that with that one turn 4. It's kind of a funny thing can happen sometimes because you mulliganed. You have access
to swing
to that.
earlier. That's so good.
There are faster and more frequent checks for Jessup's deck. Just because if both decks are not cooperating, Tad has the ability to just peel Lightning Strikes at certain moments and just go upstairs and end a game. Whereas Andrew has to establish a firm position on the battlefield.
Yeah, I think I agree there. If they both stumble here, what Andrew's hoping for is much like in game 1, he never cast a spell that cost more than 2. I think his whole draw was Fatal Pushes, Blossoming Defenses, Winding Constrictors, and Walking Ballistas. So kind of what you're saying, Andrew's deck can operate on just 2 lands. Tad's deck's a little more reliable about it.
Yep.
But especially if you look at the way that the Jessups have built their deck this weekend. So cards that cost 3 or more. They have 2 Rishkar, 4 Rogue Refiner, 4 Hostage Taker, and 1 Scarab God, which is probably in the sideboard now. That is a total of 11 cards that cost more than 2. It's a very low curve to the deck that they've done this weekend.
And when you're starting on turn 2, specifically in a matchup like this, you really just need to be that lean.
Yeah, he may have even gone off some of these Hostage Takers. Deathgorge Scavenger, hoping to be the top of his curve instead.
Yeah. You want to have some number of Hostage Taker, I imagine, but keeping the full 4 seems heavy.
All right, and we are underway with the finals. Both players on 6, both scrying to the top. Tad will get the first creature down. It is Bomat Courier. And Andrew's side, looks like the card he scryed to the top was an Ether Hub. So wanted at least one more land. And we'll see the sequencing for Andrew. Looks like he's going to choose to attune rather than play Ether Hub and a 2-drop. And this is interesting because he does have Long Tusk Cub in his hand.
Yeah. Once you've attuned, Long Tusk Cub forces either Lightning Strike or a Braid. Playing it as a 2/2 means it's vulnerable to shock. In particular, if he has a Rogue Refiner and goes for that on turn 3, that's just a lot more resilient.
Yeah, I like this play a lot if Andrew has a Fatal Push or another Attune. I don't think he has another Attune because he scryed a land to the top. So it makes sense that he wants to get Swamp here, and I think it strongly suggests a Fatal Push.
Well, if you're correct that he scryed land to the top and he didn't Fatal Push on turn 1, it'd be a little surprising to see Fatal Push on turn 2. Maybe he just evaluated that the Beaumont Courier will not become a problem over time, saving that for something like a Karizev.
Yeah, and if he has something like Walking Ballista in his hand, that makes a lot of sense. You know, maybe a way down the line to deal with Courier. So right now, it's only got 2 cards under it.
I actually think what he has is Blossoming Defense. And he's setting up for a very robust Cub. Yeah.
Tad's turn. Swings, puts a card under Courier, Soul Scar Mage, and Sunscorched Desert. So knocks Andrew down to 17. Attune with Ether, the draw from Andrew. That's an interesting one. He has a land in his hand. It's Hub. Swing this one carefully. Ether Hub brings him up to 3 energy. 2 lands, it looks like, for Long Tusk Cub. So 3 energy means it can become a 3/3. And he does have Blossoming Defense to protect it here. We have seen earlier today a game where a black-green deck ended up growing a Cub to 5/5 in this matchup. The red deck wasn't really able to deal with it. And Tad just passed back. That's huge.
He was shuffling a lot of uncastables at the front of his hand.
Yeah.
Hazoret, On-Crop Crasher. I believe he has in a Braid. He's waiting for a window where he might be able to sneak that through a Blossoming Defense.
Andrew's not going to give him that.
Nope.
And now that Andrew cast Attune, he's up to 5 energy, so to respond to a Braid, Andrew doesn't even need to leave up Blossoming Defense. He can just leave some extra energy on that board.
Because of the Soulscar Mage, he probably just wants to leave up Blossoming Defense.
You're right. So yeah, that would turn the damage into -1 counters. So you pumping through it with Long Tusk Cub technically works, but yeah.
He does want to get a second threat on the battlefield here.
Yeah. He'll play the land he found. It's a big miss there by Tad, not having more pressure there.
I think he's looking at a Rishkar.
Okay.
Tapping out for that one. I don't think you necessarily want to do that.
There's some appeal to it. He's going to go for the play. Rishkar targeting both cards. I mean, Tad can only kill one of them.
Yeah, I suppose he still won't be able to actually kill the Cub.
Yeah.
And then once this is on the battlefield and the trigger resolves, the Cub can cast Blossoming Defense.
Right, and the trigger does resolve, so now the Blossoming Defense mana is up again. Yeah, had Tad abraded, Andrew could make Cub a 4/4. Then it would shrink down to a 1/1. And then the counters would bring it full circle back to a 2/2. But now the counter's on it, yeah, he has the extra mana. This is very nice. Andrew's considering attacking. He decides maybe he'll wait another turn. He's going to pass for now.
I agree with hanging back.
The attack might be safe, but there's really just no reason to take that risk. Next turn will be much nicer.
Yeah, and if Tad just casts On-Crop Crasher,
yeah,
I suppose the Blossoming Defense wouldn't be super meaningful there because you have to tap the Cub itself.
So end step, we see a Braid on Cub, and Andrew uses Blossoming Defense. You know, if Tad wanted to make that play, that's some missed timing on his side, not to let that 1/1 counter get on Long Tusk Cub.
Right. You have to do that one with Rishkar on the stack.
Right. So now we'll go back to Tad's turn. Long Tusk Cub is down for 1 turn. See what more he can present. It would be really nice to get something like On-Crop Crasher, and I don't think he's going to. Here's the swing and a 3rd card under Beaumont Courier.
Really into blocking the Beaumont Courier.
Yeah, and he will. So Tad can decide, does he want the 5 cards in his hand here, or does he want the 3 cards under Courier and spending a mana doing it? And it looks like it's neither. He's going to cast Shock on Rishkar, dealing 2 damage and having Beaumont Courier finish it off. Rishkar down to a 1-1 from Soulscar Mage. They just trade.
Yeah, Soulscar Mage connects for 2 because of the shock, but
Yeah, prowess.
Tad's position still not great.
Yeah, no land on Tad's side. Andrew is more than happy with this trade.
If Andrew has another permanent added to the battlefield, he's going to start to run away with this game.
And spends an energy for Ether Hub. And here's Rogue Refiner. How about that for another permanent? One that replaces itself. It's very welcome.
It looks like he's been hanging on with the Vraska's Contempt in hand.
Yeah, has future Hazards covered. So here's an island. Andrew putting all his energy into Long Tusk Hub. Let's make it a 4-4 and attack on in for 6. Tad is down to 14. 2 more energy for Andrew. At this point, he's taken the aggressive role back from Tad. And Tad's missed a lot of lands. Another Soulscar Mage really isn't going to do it.
Yeah, he really needed to find land. Even casting on Crop Crasher that turn is not super significant, but at least it's something.
And Andrews senses what's going on here. He's swinging both Rogue Refiner and Cub in. This is 10 points of damage. Tad down to 4.
Just attacks his 3-2 into 2 1-2s.
Yeah, so double block it, sure.
Yeah, do something.
Death Gorge Scavenger gaining Andrew more, going up to 17. And this is going to be Tad's last draw. It's another Bomat Courier. It's not going to be it. And Andrew Jessup is your Dallas Open champion here with Sultai Energy defeating Tad Macaraeg in 3.
No third land forthcoming there. Pretty unfortunate way to have a tournament end.
Yeah, for Andrew, yeah, it's an unfortunate one there. Absolutely agree. Both pairs on a mulligan to 6. Sometimes then it's going to come down to the top of the deck.
Yep.
And in this chance, it was Andrew Jessup.
Really nice.